Hello everyone and welcome to the final of the Worcester Sheriff event 2015. We've got Steve playing Law Dogs on the left versus Des playing Desolation on the right. Apologies if you were expecting the semi-final. I had some problems with my camera, so I wasn't able to get the footage and record the video. So just have to go straight from the quarters to the final. Steve starting Wendy, Rafi, Travis and Jake Smiley against Des's Fred Ames, Barton Everest and Marion Seville Experienced. And you've got to be disappointed when you see Desolation Row, and also when you're Desolation Row and you see a Wendy in the opposing posse really can shut down the deck superbly, purely because being in town square and being able to send home the leader booted means that even if you're Desolation Joe, you can't succeed your job essentially. There'll be no one else left to oppose, but your leader is home and they have to be in the posse at the end of the job. So Steve wins low ball. One would expect Wendy to go to the town square immediately to stop that first job, but no, he goes to Pettigrew's pawn shop. And I've forgot to say it's cards up to and including Nightmare at Noon were available in this Worcester Sheriff event. Fred is running the Desolation Road job, and I'm mixed as to whether I like Fred. He is very good for this sort of deck. In that he gains the influence. He gained 2 influence a turn. You can really extend the game out if your opponent isn't able to oppose your jobs. And it was really my undoing when I played Des. So I played Des in the semi-final, and I just wasn't able to take out Fred, and he just kept getting influence. So while I had the most control points, Soul Cage for Steve, I wasn't able to force the shootout. I wasn't playing any kidnapping. I was playing a Quaterman gadget deck, so I lacked any sort of ability to call something out. Des just playing rumours there. I expect just to get it out of his hand. Now Wendy going to town square, so that's going to stop a future Desolation Road job. I mean, I can understand his hesitation not to send Wendy out straight away. I think these two have played before. When I was listening to some of the pre-game footage, it sounded like they played each other's decks, or they knew the opposing starting posse. They hadn't made any changes, so perhaps he didn't want to risk the very early sort of end game. But unless Marion can get a melee weapon, then it's just Barton for the stud. So it's two stud, 2 draw against 2 stud, 3 draw. I mean, it's fairly even. I think both players playing very strong shooting or very tight draw structures. Des going for the dead man hand. He's running 8s, aces, and jacks. I think there were some off value things. Steve, on the other hand, I think has gone for very low value, so he's playing ace 2, 3. And it's a bit of a. I don't want to say. The Law Dogs is a bit of a sort of a bit of a. It's not really a Law Dogs deck, so it's playing a lot of abominations from 4th ring. So you can see Funtime Freddy there. He's also starting being junior. I don't think he can actually play junior. It's only rank 4, 3 of a kind. So it's high card 1, pair 2, 2 pair 3. Yes, 3 of a kind 4. So he's using the Soul Cage to get an abomination here, and I think that's what's going to power this deck is. Yeah, so he's tried to play junior. He's saying he can't react with it, but he can't actually play it either. It's 5 cost. It's only 4 ranks. Yes, so I think he's going to go and get Funtime Freddy. So and it looks like he's got some Pagalachios there. So you sort of feel I would love to know why Steve chose to go with the Law Dogs deck. Did he think he wanted to tech Desolation Row with the Wendy? Was there specific clubs he wanted? I mean, Ace 2 and 3, nothing jumps out at me to suggest anything with a particular Law Dog synergy. I mean, really fast on the draw is the main card that is affected with Law Dogs. But shotgun for Steve, Pony Express for Des. So he's going to try and cycle some cards. Rafi to town square, and that's got to be a disappointment or not a disappointment, but rough for Des. He now can't send Fred on a job while Rafi has the shotgun and hasn't used it. Pair of 6-shooters for Marion. Obviously got no melee weapons in hand. It's not as good as Barton. It doesn't give any extra bullets, so he doesn't want to put it there. Steve loading up the town square, and again, this is sort of why I wonder was he wanted to start the extra influence? He didn't want to go for an under tease because he's, by the looks of it, I think running some sort of shotgun legendary holster type deck where he's going to try and the shootouts he's basically going to try and win before and maybe that's why he's gone for the Lord Dogs. The synergy with Wendy, you boot. So if your opponent doesn't come in with more than 2 dudes, one dude gets booted home, the other one gets shotgunned, legendary holstered, whatever, and shoots out over, and you've expended really just a Wendy booted. So Des is using his pair of 6-shooters to win low ball there. Very nice. It's I can't see him being too aggressive at the moment. I mean, he can't run the Desolation row job, or if he does, he risks it with just Barton and Marion. And if he loses, Barton would probably then get sent home with using Wendy. So he's just running a Marion. 3 draw against at least 2 stud with a Soul Cage cheating resolution. That, I mean, I'm not seeing a Brute go through. A Brute, a very good card for the Soul Cage. You effectively get 4 free casualties out of your cheating. So if you're losing horribly, quick draw handgun onto Barton. So that's his cheating resolution. And I think, well, it definitely was something I learned over the course of the game. It's the only cheating resolutions Des has in his Dead Man's Hand deck is those printed onto goods. So a pair of 6-shooters, quick draw handgun. He hasn't got anything like This Will Hurt in the Morning on 8s. He hasn't got anything like Fly to the Lepus on Jacks to punish you for cheating. He's basically just trying to hope to hit that Dead Man hand and not worry if you cheat, because he's just going to beat it anyway. Wendy off to Pettigrews. So Des may run a job here. Yep, so it's Barton with Marion. I think that's the right play. Wendy's gone home to presumably collect some sort of good, and so now she can't boot to send somebody home, so he's got a reasonable success of a reasonably fair shootout, 2 stud and draw versus 1 stud, or 3 draw and a stud. You'd have 4 draw and a stud. You'd have Rafi with his shotgun as your main shooter, then the stud from Freddie and the draw from Travis. There's no point going for using the stud bullet, or having Freddie as your leader. If he's only got 1 stud, he doesn't give anything extra if he wasn't used as a backup. So Steve just looking what he's doing here. I think ace 2 3s. I mean, he's selling your eyes. Stakes just rose. 2s. That's backroom deal. Not, is it backroom deals? I think. I think backroom deals is a very poor card to be playing as a cheating resolution in a deck focused on, or one that has a very strong shootout structure, because you, much like This Will Hurt in the Morning, is not as effective against very strong shootout decks. Neither is backroom deals, because it's not backroom deals. Bottom dealing. There we go. Bottom dealing. I keep thinking backroom deals just because everyone keeps talking about it online and says it's a fantastic card. No, bottom dealing. So make him sweat. He's booting Rafi to reduce Barton's bullets, so it's going to be 3 draw, 1 stud. It's a stakes just rose when you're coming in, so that's going to send home Marion now, I assume. Yeah, so Barton goes home, and I think no, so they sent Barton home. So interestingly, he reduced the bullets of Barton. Maybe he did reduce the bullets of Marion. I don't think so, because Barton got booted by the Make 'em Sweat. Yes, so back to my bottom dealing. It's another Make 'em Sweat onto Marion. So I think Steve just cycling some cards there. It's a very high risk play. You need something that has a weak draw structure over 5 cards for bottom dealing. I mean, you can pay off even on a 3x16 deck. You're possibly very likely to hit 2 pair, 3 of a kind. I mean, you don't often see 4 houses in low ball. but it's still a risk. Um, Whereas if you've got something slightly weaker, you're much more likely that bottom dealing is going to pay off big, I think. And that's what you really want from a cheating card like bottom dealing. You don't want to go from them having four of a kind to full house or five of a kind to full house. You really want to hit them for like five of a kind down to a pair or two pairs. A really big swing. So I think looking just there, seeing the rapier on the top, I think Des is running the full 3x16, so aces, eights, and jacks. He's got rapiers there. I think it's the job on jack, and I can't for the life of me remember. I'm gonna have to look it up. It's not a town. No, meet the new boss, which also aces, which is very useful for the dead man hand deck. Your racing cards, and I think. Well, perhaps surprised that Des didn't go for Buried Treasure to try and ace some more cards and keep or refine down the structure. I mean, he's, I think, sort of playing for the long game with the Desolation Row. He doesn't, as I say, have any cheating resolution. He doesn't have any call outs or forcible call out options. He's got some dudes, but not a huge number, so he's not going to be swimming in control points. So. And he can keep getting them with Fred Ames, keep getting the influence, sort of extending that game out. So if you're extending the game out, I think you want to try and ace that deck down, thin the structure even more to make sure when you do have those shootouts, you've got a good chance of getting that dead man hand. Steve deciding what he wants to do, probably just deciding whether he wants to cheat or not. So he looks like he's got for a legal full house versus a cheating full house, I think. No, legal full house. So it's legal full house versus legal full house. So it's I say unlucky for Steve. I mean, he can easily afford that. So he's got Freddie has gone back to the discard pile, and if Des cheats in low ball, I imagine he'll come back out again or another one. Whereas Des loses 2 influence and possibly a key part of his deck. And may not see that for a while. I mean, at the moment he's really struggling to get a lot of income. Desolation Row, not only good for getting the control points, also a great home for getting that extra money. The 2 or 3 a turn you can get from it really sort of accelerates that deck and allows you to play many more cards and keep moving through your hand or your deck. And so if he's stuck with the same sort of cards, Shane Graves. Interesting, he's played at the other side. I presume, I think the thinking there, I suspect, is that Steve very much controls the town square at the moment. He's not going to have the opportunity to move to town square and move across to Shane and Gray, so he played it to the right of Pony Express. So here he can move either way without booting and not have to worry. But yep, Steve being aggressive, going after Shane and Grays with Jake. I'm not sure Jake really does anything. He gets the control points at sundown, but Des happy with that. He's still going to get the income in the upkeep phase. And I think that's what he's really concerned about at the moment, is getting the upkeep. I mean, I think he could have gone after Jake there. I think just straight away he could have gone from Desolation Row to Shane Graves. That would force Jake to boot somewhere else, or if he doesn't stay, then Des just calls him out, and then he can boot over to Pettigrew's pawn shop. Yeah, so now Jake has gone to Pettigrew's. I mean, part of me thinks here you go for it. Des is pointing at the camera. I'm not sure what he was trying to say or what he was doing, but I mean, looking at the state of the board, it does not look good for Des. He's got 3 influence at the moment. He can't run the job this turn. He's already tried to run it, so even and all those dudes are booted in town squares, so they can still defend. Jake is 2 influence. He wants to control that deed during the upkeep phase to stop Steve getting more money. I mean, he's only got 2 upkeep on the table, so he's not making. If he loses low ball, then he's making no money and slows the deck down. So I just feel that's one of the ones you've got to risk it. I think maybe Des didn't fancy it. I mean, likely suspects that Steve has a very strong draw structure. He's going to pull well, but it's one draw versus two. Is it two? Is Fred Ames uh, Fred Ames? Yeah, it's two draws. So two draw versus one draw. They've got a chance of being even. I suppose Des basically just doesn't want to lose it there and then, but he wouldn't lose that turn. He'd still have his both the control points would be his as long as he got rid of Jake. Well, no, he didn't have to. Even if he had it at Petroglyph's pawn shop, he didn't have to get rid of Jake. He just had to make sure. But Pagliaccio coming out for Steve from Soul Cage. So yeah, I'm just struggling to see what I describe as the outs basically for Des. Fred can't run the job. Barton running the job. You almost feel like Barton just has to be a sacrificial lamb of going to the town square, calling out Wendy, get booted home, or even calling out Rafi. I mean, that's the problem. He needs to get Rafi as well. I mean, he's got to get both Wendy and Rafi in a shootout, and he needs to take really both of them, well, especially Rafi down. Rafi, because at the moment Rafi completely stops Fred Ames from doing anything. And anywhere Fred goes, Rafi goes, and as soon as Rafi calls him out, so yeah, Rafi. Possibly going, yeah. So Rafi going to Pony Express. Jackson strike for Des. One of his Jack of Diamonds gone for the dead man's hand. I think he's just searching for income. Pony Express, a fight they'll never forget. You're in there, so he's got to go after Rafi with Barton. Rapier onto Fred Ames. I really would have liked to have seen that a turn earlier for Marion. Gamora Parish for Steve. So there's 4 now control points on the table. Des with just 3 influence. It's he's got to look at something. I think he's going after Shane and Graves here. I think to defend it for in case someone comes over. And I mean, I suppose he has got the advantage. I don't think he won Lobel this turn. I think Steve was Lobel winner. So we can't use the Shane and Graves immediately to stop Wendy booting home Barton and then still having the gunslinger in. But Rafi can still join the fight as soon as he moves over. Yeah, so Spartan's going to defend Shane and Graves. Wendy the only one with influence, although Jake does have influence that he can now go and boot somewhere. So there's ultimately passing, I think, in the end. So not moving anywhere. Yeah, so I think that's. I think more smart. I think probably actually I would have moved Jake there because Wendy. Now you got to assume Des or Wendy can't join any fight that happens or send someone home. So gives Des a bit of advantage. He's now got the stud bullets. He only with Barton can he go after Rafi though. And I think that's who he wants to try and get rid of. So Barton moves over. Pagliaccio moves in. Again, seems sensible. Yeah, it's just it's basically it's a fight that Des has to win. He a loss here. He's down to 2 influence. He's only got 3 easy available to Steve. Someone getting called out by Barton, not quite sure. I think it was Rafi. I can't imagine it being the Pagliaccio. You want to get Rafi home booted if he doesn't want to have a fight because that shotgun is really holding him back. But but yes, no. I was thinking Rafi's only one away from shotgunning Barton, but no, it's only +1 for a shotgun. It's not +2. +2 for legendary holster. So make him sweat. So Barton down to a 0 stud. Yeah, you could even with the rapier, the shotgun is still is going to stop that from giving any extra bullets. I'm not sure actually last time that would have helped Marion. But Barton gets booted. He's not got any bullets left. Rafi's 3 bullets reduces Barton's 3 bullets by. Make it. Well, is that actually right? Make sweat. But it's by your dude's bullets rating, so I don't think it's it's not their printed bullets. It's thing. Steve, any bit of think? I think. I mean, he's got 2. It's very much advantage Steve. I think here at the moment he's got Travis and Pagliaccio who can both soak up between them 4 casualties. So even if it goes horribly wrong, he's unlikely to lose Rafi unless it really. That's basically Des gets a dead man hand and he gets absolutely nothing. But 5 cards for a dead man hand is unlikely at best. There's only 3 Jack diamonds left. You could have a look through the Des' discard pile to see how many he's got. If he's got any others left there to how many chances he's got of hitting those, and even then he just needs to get flush. I think it is 3 of a kind was 4, straight is 5, flush is 6, full house is 7. So yeah, so it's a full house. So on his 3 at the moment 4 draw. It's perhaps 4 draw. Perhaps he's thinking he should have booted Wendy across rather than sending the Pagliaccio, but no, it's a stakes just rose. Wendy joining. And I just sort of feel for Des because a fight that I'll never forget. So all of Steve's posse is +1 bullets. Yeah, so it was still going to be short on the shotgun, but yeah, I just feel for Des. I mean, I don't think he's done anything particularly wrong in this matchup. He's played it as well as he can, but really that early soul cage and the shotgun has just absolutely decimated him. And just no way to gain any influence from Fred Ames, no way to run the job against Wendy or and is punished for cheating so often in low ball, which dead man hand and strong draw structure decks are going to do. That he's got nowhere to go. And maybe this is where Shane goes on the other side would have helped. I'm not sure when he would have been there. So no, yeah, because Wendy was still gone to Shane Graves. Wendy could have then booted in the gunslinger, and then Wendy could have then joined with the stakes just rose. So yeah, it's 5 cards of for Des to snatch victory here, but I really am struggling to sort of see what he could possibly do or could have done differently to win this. I mean, the rapier, if he got the rapier first turn, maybe he could have had a lot more bullets. Yeah, so Steve has got legal full house. I think Des knows the fate of the game is here. 8 of clubs, Jack of hearts, 2 of spades, and pair of 8, and that's game. Yeah, so Steve is Sheriff of Worcester. Congrats, Steve. A well fought victory there, and a good game from both players. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me for this series. I'll be back next week with the London Sheriff final only. Again, I have more problems with my camera. I don't think people want to be on video in London. They're quite shy. So I will be We'll be back with that, and then we'll see you on the tournament. So thank you very much for watching. Do like and all those other YouTube type things if you would like to. But yes, I'll see you all again soon.